You know, this thing just looks like one of those V6 Mustangs owned by a typical V6 Mustang owner. Stick on, you know, hood scoop, exhaust dump behind the front wheel. You know, it's on Cobra wheels, it's lowered, and they just think it's the fastest thing on the planet. But this thing could be a sleeper. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video is, I'm going to focus on one car here, but I am going to show you other vehicles that I've purchased in 1 week. It's got kind of out of hand. So for those that know me, you know, I'm always buying stuff and like either flipping it, or if I can get a good deal on something and I can build it, then I'll go ahead and do that. But so behind the scenes, I'm kind of always talking to people, or people are sending me links, and I'll be talking to someone for a long time. And sometimes I try to work people down on price over a period of time. You know, some people are firm on price, and that's completely fine. I'm not going to lowball them. I'll just put it out there, hey, I'm willing to pay this, and if they take it, then they take it. So one of the vehicles that I had been trying to buy for about a month and a half now was this 1996 Mustang. So titled, it is a 1996 just base model V6 Mustang. Nothing really special about it. On the outside, it's pretty unsuspecting. Has, you know, this one typical eBay racing seat, this, you know, eBay wood grain, you know, steering wheel, and you can see it's a stick. And on the ball it says it's a 6-speed, which we all know these came with 5 speeds. However, this Mustang, to my knowledge, is the only Gen 3 Hemi swapped Mustang I've ever seen. And I thought that was awesome. So let me show you what's under the hood. It's pretty freaking awesome, and I'm pretty hyped. You know, it's almost sad what I'm gonna do with the car, but I want to share this anyway. Oh, I think I hear a deer. Oh yeah. So check it out, guys. This is a Gen 3 5.7 liter Hemi out of a 2013 Dodge Challenger. And not only is it a Gen 3 Hemi, it is also powered by a Holley Terminator X. It has a nitrous outlet 2-stage nitrous system, which comes in here. You have both stages, which is kind of cool. And then it's got, you know, it looks like a wiring mess over here, but it's actually done for a reason. And then over here, this is something that I'm pretty sure Mopar uses as like a voltage regulator. But there's no power steering, there's no AC, it's just race car. They do have the Holley Sniper EFI intake, which I think is awesome. And it runs pretty well, I gotta say. I mean, for kind of a weird swap, you know, there's things that I would have done different, but just full disclosure, it is also a 6-speed. The 6-speed transmission that's in it is a TR6060 6-speed, also out of the same 2013 Challenger. So I'm going to assume the guy either had access to a wrecked Challenger and just yanked the drivetrain out of it and put it in this car. But it drives good. It does have a lifter tick, and for those that are familiar with the Hemis, it's pretty common that lifters fail on these. And then even as common as that, sometimes the lifter will flat spot on the roller and it will wipe out the cam lobe. So I don't know how serious it is. On startup, you can't really hear it at all. But as the oil thins out and it gets warmer, the lifter tick becomes more noticeable. It still has plenty of power. It actually runs really well. And it is kind of loud because you have the stock manifolds down here, and then they have it dumped straight behind the front wheel. You do have your nitrous purge here on either side. They just purge the right out of the fenders. And I think it's kind of cool, to be honest. I mean, it's very unique. I've never seen a Gen 3, let alone any Hemi swapped Mustang, period. So I think this is really cool. And this hood scoop up here, the reason it's there is because of this Holley intake. So they actually cut this out, and the filter sees direct cold air through the scoop. I wasn't even looking for one of these. However, this is where I'll talk a little bit about another vehicle I bought. This is a 1990 Dodge D150. Very similar, you know, body style to like a C10. You know, it's filthy. It is complete. It was a 5-speed. It was a 3.9 liter V6, but it had a electrical issue, and I didn't really care. Originally, I wanted to LS swap it, but I'm gonna tell you why I didn't care. I paid $250 for this truck. It's complete, and I'm gonna yank the 3.9 liter out with the 5-speed, and I'm going to drop the 5.7 Gen 3 Hemi with the TR6060 into the D150, and I'm going to do a resto mod swap on a square body truck. And I'm pretty excited about that because I've always wanted to build something like this, but I've never had the ability, or I never had access to a vehicle like this. So when I got this truck with a clean title for 250 bucks, it was game on. I planned on LS swapping it, like I said, but then this Mustang came along and it was just perfect. I'll fix the lifter issue and maybe even put a cam in it, swap everything over to it, the Holley Terminator X, the nitrous kit, all that stuff. And then I want to do like a 4.6 drop on the truck, leave these wheels on it for now. It'd be nice eventually maybe to put some like of the newer style like SRT wheels on it or something, but that's my overall plan. So let me show you guys how this thing runs. Oh, it's kind of cool. I'm not a huge fan of how they wired it, but I have an idea of why they did it this way. So you have to turn the key on. It'll give you power to the fuel pump, the fans, and all that stuff. You flip this main power switch on, which powers the Holley computer. Make sure it's in neutral, and there she is, boys. And right now, completely quiet. You can't even tell it has a tick or anything. It sounds perfect. And it runs really good. You know, the tune is pretty spot on. But, you know, as it warms up and the oil gets, you know, like I said, it gets thinner, the tick will start to be more noticeable. And then once it's really warm, you can definitely hear it ticking. So that makes me think that maybe it's not as bad and it hasn't wiped out the lobe. I'm not 100% sure. You can hear it a little bit now. I don't want to run it too much because I don't want to do any more damage if it is wiping out the lobe. So I'm going to go ahead and kill it. But it is a super cool, super unique car, and I'm really excited I got it. So just to give you a heads up of what I plan to do, before I rip it all out of the Mustang, I do plan on leaving the car as it is, maybe putting a set of radials or slicks on the car and taking it to the track to see what the car can do as it sits. I mean, it's kind of a waste to not see what this thing could do. I mean, most of these Challengers and Chargers are pretty slow because the cars weigh a freaking, you know, a metric butt ton, right? They're huge, they're anchors. So now you have this platform in a much lighter car, and I'm really excited. I honestly think that it should be, you know, a low 12, maybe even a high 11-second car. I mean, this motor, I think from the factory, makes 375 horsepower and right at around 400 foot-pounds of torque. So, you know, those numbers paired with like other SN95s that I've had making those numbers, I've run mid-11s in other SN95s. So there's no reason, you know, this one shouldn't be somewhere close. And then if I decide to spray it, I mean, there's a chance that this thing could potentially dip into the 10s. Now, granted, that's all based on me driving it, but and a word of caution, I guess, something I failed to mention is this, since it is a V6, right, it was never 8.8 swapped, so it still does have the factory 7.5 inch rear end. So I can't exactly launch the car because there's a high probability that that rear end will absolutely disintegrate. So I'll probably leave pretty softly on a slick and just see what it does. And hey, if the rear end blows up, then it blows up. I mean, once I pull this drivetrain out and put it in the truck, the car will most likely be sold as a roller. Who I have, you know, Chris, who you guys have seen on the channel from Mustang Parts Reaper, he'll most likely purchase it because he can part it out, and there's certain parts on the car that he'll make money on. So yeah, that's what I wanted to cover in this video. I'll go a little bit more in depth in this truck next video. And then back there, that is the new budget drag car. So that car has a lot of goodies on it. I don't want to go into detail in this video, but you can see some of the parts it came with. That thing will most likely get an LS, and it will go to the Grassroots Challenge this next year coming up. So I plan on bringing the RX-7 back that blew up. I still have not pulled the motor out. Those of you who have seen the dyno video, pretty sure it ate a piston. So I think it ate a ringland. It still runs, but you can hear it in the cylinder. It sounds terrible. And I already got a new 5.3 for it. It's in there. But yeah, so that is the new budget drag car. Both of those cars should be going to the Grassroots event next year. This car will compete overall to try and win, try and get on the podium for the overall class, just overall podium for everything, drag racing, autocrossing, and the concourse. As a recap, last year I competed in it, which was the first year. It was untested, you know, not fully tuned, and I came in 5th overall. So I have a really good chance to hit the podium this upcoming year after I go to a couple autocrosses in it, get the new motor in it, dial in the tune, and make a spacer for the back so I can run a bigger slick. This car, I am not competing for the overall. I am only building this car to go fast in a straight line. Those of you that have watched my buddy Calvin's YouTube channel, he is Nivelac57. He is really big into the Grassroots thing. Him and his dad both hold the record for the Grassroots Challenge drag times. That record is a 9-second pass. I don't know if it's 9.8, 9.9. I just know it's in the 9s. So I'm building that Fox directly to compete with Calvin, and I don't care how it does in the autocross. I will do the autocross on bigs and littles. I just want it to go fast, and my goal is that car sees a 9-second pass out of the gate. So we'll go into more details on that in the next video. I really just wanted to show you guys the Mustang. There it is. Hope you guys like it. Stay tuned for more videos on this and everything in general. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace.